People are not one way. We are a reflection of the states we're living in. When you're in a frustrated state, an overwhelmed state, a tired state, your brain processes completely differently than if you're in a passionate state. Whether you're feeling determined, whether you're feeling committed, whether you feel completely resolved, your entire psychology shifts based on your emotional state. So learning to change the leader's state, learning how to change your own state is everything. Because one of the silliest questions I get asked is, you're not really that happy, are you? Or you have bad days, don't you? Of course I have tough moments, but I don't have bad days anymore. And it's not because I'm special. It's because I've trained myself like an athlete to enter peak states so consistently that they've become my natural way of being. It's like building a muscle. It's not about being smart, and it's not about being blindly positive. It's about realizing that stress, frustration, and overwhelm don't serve me. I have a 90-second rule. I'll allow myself to feel stress for 90 seconds, but after that I shift. Stress doesn't solve anything. The only thing that solves the problem is putting yourself in the right state to deal with it effectively. I've been teaching for years that a radical change in your body instantly changes your biochemistry. 38 years of teaching it, and 2 years ago, Harvard came out with a study proving what I've been saying all along. They call it power postures. Standing like Wonder Woman or Superman for just 2 minutes. That single shift increases testosterone by 20%, lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, by 18%, and increases your ability to take decisive action by 33%. That's just from standing a certain way. But I take it a step further. I teach people how to use their voice, their breath, their movement to create immediate shifts in their emotional state. And when you learn to control your state, everything changes. You change the way you think, you change the way you act, you change the results you get in your life. Some people are born with more certainty, more confidence, more drive. But leadership isn't about being born with it. It's about mastering it. Everyone can be a leader in something they decide to become masterful in. Leadership isn't just about leading a team or a company. It starts with leading your own life. It starts with setting a vision bigger than yourself, committing to it fully, and disciplining your disappointment when things don't go your way. Because that's a test, isn't it? Not whether you succeed when everything is going right, but whether you push through when everything is going wrong, whether you let your failures define you or whether you let them drive you, whether you allow the setbacks to control your future or whether you take control, shift your state, and move forward with even more clarity and power. And that's why I say the key to mastering your life starts with mastering your state. Because if you can control your state, you can control your focus. And if you can control your focus, you can control your results. Master your emotional state. Your emotional state is the foundation of everything you do. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every outcome you experience is determined by the state you are in at any given moment. If you're in a peak state filled with confidence, certainty, and drive, you're going to take massive action. You're going to push through obstacles. You're going to find solutions where others see problems. But if you're in a state of doubt, fear, hesitation, or frustration, even the simplest challenges can seem overwhelming. The difference isn't the circumstances, it's the state you're in when you face them. The ability to master your emotional state is what separates those who succeed from those who struggle. Most people live reactively. They let the outside world dictate how they feel. If things go well, they feel good. If things go wrong, they feel bad. But leaders, high achievers, and those who truly control their lives do the opposite. They don't wait for external circumstances to dictate their emotions. They decide in advance how they are going to feel, and they train themselves to access that state at will. Think about it. How often do you hear people say, I'm just not feeling it today, or I don't have the energy? They act as if their emotions are outside their control, as if they have no choice but to accept whatever state they wake up in. But that's a lie. The truth is you can control your emotions instantly if you know how to shift your state. You don't need to wait for motivation to show up. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to feel confident, powerful, or excited. You can create those feelings on demand. It starts with awareness. You must become conscious of the patterns that control your emotions. Every emotional state has a pattern. There are specific ways you breathe, move, think, and use your body when you're in a certain state. When you're frustrated, your shoulders slump, your breathing becomes shallow, your voice changes. When you're confident, your chest is up, your movements are powerful, your voice is strong. The key is to recognize these patterns and interrupt them immediately. One of the fastest ways to change your emotional state is through radical physical movement. Motion creates emotion. If you're feeling tired, sluggish, or unmotivated, it's because your physiology is reflecting that state. Change your body and your emotions will follow. If you've ever worked out when you didn't feel like it, you know this to be true. You might start sluggish, but after a few minutes, your energy shifts. Why? Because movement forces your body to produce different biochemistry. But it's not just about exercise. It's about how you use your body in every moment of your life. Stand up, move powerfully, breathe deeply, and you will instantly feel different. If you want to feel confident, stand like someone who is already confident. And if you want to feel unstoppable, move like someone who is unstoppable. Your body leads your mind, and it's not just about movement. Your focus also controls your emotional state. What you focus on, you feel. If you constantly focus on what's wrong, what's missing, or what could go wrong, you'll feel stress, frustration, or fear. But if you focus on what's possible, what you're grateful for, and what's exciting about the future, your emotional state will shift immediately. Your mind is like a muscle. It will go where you train it to go. The final key to mastering your emotional state is language. The words you use internally and externally shape how you feel. If you say, I'm exhausted, your body will respond accordingly. If you say I'm unstoppable, you will feel different instantly. High performers are conscious of their language. They don't describe problems in a way that weakens them. They use words that empower them. If you want to take control of your life, you must first take control of your emotional state. Stop letting the world dictate how you feel. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop accepting states that disempower you. Make the decision that from this moment forward, you will master your emotions, because when you control your emotional state, you control your destiny. Condition, confidence, daily confidence is not something you're born with. It's not something only certain people have. Confidence is a muscle. It's something you build through repetition, conditioning, and taking action despite fear. The problem is most people are waiting for confidence to show up before they act. They think they need to feel ready before they take the leap. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Think about a skill you've mastered. Something you once struggled with but now do effortlessly. Maybe it's driving a car, speaking in public, or excelling in your career. The first time you did it, you probably felt uncertain, but through repetition, you became more comfortable. Eventually, it became second nature. Confidence works the same way. The more you do something, the more certainty you create around it. The challenge is most people reinforce disempowering patterns instead of empowering ones. They let fear dictate their actions. They hesitate, they doubt themselves. And every time they give into that doubt, they reinforce it. Every time they avoid a challenge, they condition their mind to associate action with fear. This is why breaking the pattern is so crucial. If you want to condition confidence, you must train yourself to take action despite uncertainty. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through physiology. Your body and mind are linked. If you move powerfully, breathe deeply, and speak with certainty, you will feel more confident instantly. This is why top performers have rituals before they step into high-pressure situations. Athletes bounce, move, and breathe in a certain way before they compete. Public speakers have pre-stage routines that put them in a peak state. They don't wait for confidence. They create it through movement. Another key to conditioning confidence is celebrating wins daily. Most people focus on what they haven't done, where they fell short, or what's missing. But confidence grows when you acknowledge progress. Every time you push through fear, every time you take action, every time you do something that stretches you, you must reinforce it. Confidence is built through stacking wins. Keep a journal, track your progress, and remind yourself daily of how far you've come. But perhaps the most important way to build confidence is to face fear head on. Fear doesn't disappear by thinking about it. It disappears through action. Most people avoid what scares them, hoping the fear will go away. But avoidance only makes fear stronger. The only way to truly build unshakable confidence is to lean into discomfort. Make it a habit to do the things that scare you. The more you do, the less fear controls you. If you want to be confident, you must train confidence. Just like building muscle in the gym, you have to push past resistance. You have to challenge yourself daily. You have to stop waiting to feel ready and start conditioning the version of yourself that takes action no matter what. Because confidence isn't about never feeling fear. It's about training yourself to act despite it. Discipline your disappointment. Disappointment is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Every person who has ever achieved something great has faced setbacks, failures, and moments where things didn't go as planned. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's the ability to discipline disappointment. It's the ability to feel the frustration, process the failure, and keep moving forward without letting it define them. Most people let disappointment break them, but the ones who rise to the top use it as fuel. Disappointment comes from expectations. You set a goal, you put in the effort, and when things don't happen the way you envisioned, you feel the weight of that unmet expectation. But here's the thing, life will rarely go exactly as planned. The people who succeed at the highest level understand that setbacks are part of the process. They don't take it personally. They don't make it mean something about their worth, their abilities, or their future. They see it for what it is, feedback, a lesson, a stepping stone to something greater. When you don't discipline your disappointment, you get stuck in the cycle of frustration. You start doubting yourself, you hesitate, you lose momentum, and momentum is everything. The moment you allow yourself to dwell on disappointment, you start reinforcing a pattern of inaction. You condition yourself to expect things not to work out, and that expectation shapes your behavior. The next time you go after something, a small voice inside you whispers, "What if it doesn't work again?" And if you listen to that voice, you hesitate, you play smaller, you stop taking risks, and that hesitation is what kills success. The way to break that pattern is by shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing disappointment as failure, see it as fuel. Every setback contains valuable feedback. It's showing you what needs to change, what needs to improve, what needs to be done differently. If you're willing to extract the lesson and keep moving, you'll gain an edge over everyone else who lets disappointment slow them down. The people who win in life are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who recover the fastest. They feel the frustration, but they don't live in it. They take control of their emotions and channel that energy into making their next move stronger. Another key to disciplining disappointment is managing your inner dialogue. What do you tell yourself when things don't go as planned? Do you reinforce negative beliefs like, "I always mess things up"? Or do you ask empowering questions like, "What can I learn from this? How can I come back stronger?" The questions you ask yourself in moments of disappointment determine your next move. Weak questions create weak emotions, and weak emotions lead to weak actions. But strong questions shift your focus and put you back in control. Disappointment is also a test of commitment. It's easy to be excited when everything is going well. It's easy to stay motivated when progress is obvious. But real commitment is measured by how you show up when things aren't working. How do you respond when everything seems to be falling apart? Do you lower your standards? Do you back off? Or do you double down, adjust your strategy, and push through? The people who achieve greatness are the ones who refuse to let temporary failure dictate their long-term success. One of the best ways to discipline disappointment is to anticipate it. If you go into every challenge expecting it to be smooth and perfect, you're setting yourself up for frustration. But if you go in knowing there will be obstacles, knowing there will be setbacks, and deciding in advance that you'll push through anyway, you become unstoppable. You take the emotional sting out of it. You turn disappointment into a challenge instead of a roadblock. This is how champions think. They don't expect an easy road. They expect resistance, but they've conditioned themselves to push through it. They know that disappointment isn't a stop sign. It's a moment of decision. It's an opportunity to rise, to prove to themselves that they are stronger than any setback, that their vision is bigger than any temporary obstacle. Influence through understanding. If you want to lead, if you want to inspire, if you want to create real change, whether in your business, your relationships, or your community, you have to master the art of influence. Influence isn't about forcing people to follow you. It's not about convincing, coercing, or manipulating. True influence comes from understanding. The better you understand people, what they value, what drives them, what fears hold them back, the more powerfully you can lead them. Most people try to influence by talking more, by pushing harder, by telling people what to do. But influence doesn't come from talking. It comes from listening. It comes from truly understanding what someone needs, what they believe, and what's stopping them from taking action. If you want to change someone's life, you have to step into their world first. You have to see things through their eyes, because people don't respond to logic. They respond to emotions. They don't just need information, they need transformation. Every person operates from a unique set of beliefs and values. This is their blueprint, their internal map of how life should be. And if you try to influence someone without understanding their blueprint, you'll fail. You'll push ideas that don't resonate. You'll meet resistance. But when you take the time to understand what truly matters to someone, you can communicate in a way that moves them at their core. Influence isn't just about getting people to say yes. It's about helping them break through their own limitations. It's about showing them a new possibility, a new vision for their life, a new way of thinking that empowers them. And that starts with asking the right questions. If you want to influence someone, ask, what do they really want? What are they afraid of? What's holding them back? Because until you understand what's stopping them, you can't help them move forward. People's beliefs are shaped by their experiences. If someone has failed repeatedly, they might believe success isn't possible for them. If someone has been hurt in the past, they might believe trust is dangerous. If someone has been told they're not good enough, they might believe they'll never be enough. And those beliefs shape their actions or lack of action. But the truth is, beliefs are not facts. They are simply patterns that have been reinforced over time. And if you can help someone see their beliefs for what they really are, just stories, just conditioning, you can help them break free. The most powerful way to influence someone is to help them change their state. Because when someone is stuck in fear, doubt, or uncertainty, no amount of logical argument will move them. But if you can shift their emotional state, if you can help them feel empowered, excited, or confident, even for a moment, that shift will change their act. And once someone takes action from a new state, they create new results, and those results reinforce new beliefs. Great leaders don't just give people strategies. They give them the belief that change is possible. They create an environment where people feel safe to grow, to challenge their own limitations, to step into a higher version of themselves. And they do this by meeting people where they are, understanding what they need, and helping them see what's possible. Influence is not about control. It's about transformation. It's about helping people become who they were meant to be. And when you truly understand what drives people, when you know how to speak to their hearts and not just their minds, you can inspire them to take action, not because you told them to, but because they see a new possibility for themselves. Your standards shape every area of your life, your relationships, your finances, your confidence, your success. It all comes down to the baseline you refuse to dip below. And the only way to create lasting change is to decide right now that you will never again accept anything less than the absolute best from yourself. Because when you raise your standards, you raise your identity. And when you raise your identity, your behaviors follow automatically. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop tolerating the patterns that have held you back. You start showing up in a new way. You start demanding more from yourself. You start creating the life you were meant to live. And the beautiful thing is, this is available to you right now. It's not something that requires years of work. It's not something that only a select few can do. The moment you decide that you will not settle, that you will not tolerate anything less than your absolute best, you step into a completely different level of life. And the best part, you don't just change your own life, you inspire everyone around you to do the same. Because when you live at a higher standard, when you refuse to settle, when you show up with a level of energy and commitment that most people don't even think is possible, you become a leader, not just in words, but in action. Not because you tell people what to do, but because your very presence challenges them to rise higher. So ask yourself, what's the standard you've been living at? What's the next level for you? And when will you decide to make that shift? Because once you do, everything changes. If you got value from this, if this resonated with you, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is Tony Robbins, and I'll see you at the top.